instances, people have approached us and said, well, there's much more to tourism than meets the eye. Can't you, as Waterberg Tourism, assist in the development and upliftment of the area? And working closely with a development economist, we've put together some ideas which we're exploring at the moment. And we see tourism being one of the factors in the equation. You can see as we go around from left to right, health is a very important issue. And in particular, health has been drawn to our attention by the COVID situation. But we now have a meeting going on with about 12 or 13 specialists, speaking to them to find out what is needed in the Waterberg to help us with the health and healthcare situation. Obviously, we will work with the public authorities, but there's a lot of private initiative that can take place there. The same applies to skills. There's a question of economic upliftment and value added to skills. We have almost 80% unemployment in the Waterberg right at the moment, and that's just unacceptable. So we're addressing ways of how we can get skills development going to give people jobs quicker. Conservation has been the cornerstone of the Waterberg because of our biodiversity. There are many initiatives that we're helping coordinate to get started, including a project, African Wild Dogs, which Riley is working on. Farming is another important area. It's not as large because of the soil conditions in the Waterberg, but we still have tobacco farmers, we have cattle farmers, we have pig farmers, we have citrus farmers, we have all sorts of farmers. And we're in discussions already with leading organizations who provide training and assistance to farmers. And this is not only established farmers, but it's developing farmers and sustenance farmers as well. Infrastructure is the responsibility of the state, but we believe we can influence the state as a body far more than we have done or has been done in the past. So we see ourselves having a very big influence with the national, provincial, district, and local authorities. Business is the cornerstone, obviously, of any economy. And we are very, very fortunate to have established a very good relationship with the Waterberg Sakakama, or Business Chamber. We are working with them now to expand their influence in our area and our influence in their area. And there is much common thought that is going on to improve the situation. And finally, safety. Safety is a very important area. Tourists will not go to an area if it is not safe. And some tremendous work has been done by many organizations in the Waterberg. And it's an inclusive safety factor. And we're trying to bring many of these people together so that we as a community can offer not only our community, but also our guests who come to the area, the opportunity to be very safe and secure while they're here. So thank you, Judy. It's exciting. There's much happening. And we will be releasing more information fairly soon. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Ken. Much appreciated. Okay, so guys, that has really been in a nutshell. We have raced through it a little bit because we were worried about time, but we now have a full session for questions and answers. So if there's anything that you want more clarity on, or if you've got any specific questions, now's the time to talk about it. So if you'd like to ask a question, you can, there is a little button that you can press to put up your hand, and please unmute yourself. There we go, Mashudu.
Judy, I see there were a few questions posted while you were doing your address.
Okay.
And the one related really, Mashudu put it on, your issue about being malaria free.
Okay. Yo.
And to the best of our knowledge, if I may just preempt this, there are from time to time cases of malaria in the Waterberg. This is acknowledged. They are sporadic. They tend to be imported by people traveling from infected areas like Mozambique to this area. We're not totally free. We never have been totally free, but we're mostly free is the way we prefer to couch it. So thank you for your comments.
Yeah. Mashudu, if you'd like to ask a question, please just unmute yourself. I've tried to unmute you from my side and I can't. So you'll have to press the unmute button. There we go.
All right, thank you very much. I was just waiting for Ken to finish. And thanks, Ken, for your comment. I raised that question because there's a great debate in health matter that Waterbergers are in denial that there is malaria within their area. And at the same time with Balezia, not just only malaria, there's another thing which is Balezia. And we have engaged, and there is a study that we will be doing with UKZN, which is a leading university in terms of Balezia, where we want to try and look at the Palala and other rivers to see whether, because now and again, there are cases of Balezia, but no one has ever done a study to look at whether is it permanent, is it temporarily, is it caused by what? Can we say it does? Is it not really found within our area? Does it just come with the visitors, as what Ken has alluded to? Can we prove that scientifically? So that's the debate that we are having, which there is a study that is going to be looking at Balezia, and we're hoping to secure a study that will be looking at malaria so that we can be able to have a scientific proof on the statement that we articulate. Because also as the Lapalala Wilderness School, we say we are malaria free, but can we prove scientifically? And that's the question that we have been asked many a times by our client. And lastly, not a question, it's a comment that just say, in terms of the tourism, there's a great opportunity in Waterberg for avid tourism, which is for those that are very interested in just doing a viewing of birds rather than just a big hairy and fairy. So we might just need to look at that. And there are few community members who have set up and who were trained by BirdLife South Africa, which we could really piggyback on that. Thank you.
Well done, Mashudu. Your comments are very, very justifiable. You know, Richard Wadley published a very, very interesting book called Echoes of the Waterberg, and he provided a lot of information on what was the situation with both malaria and with bilharzia. And we've had a few talks at the Waterberg Nature Conservancy meetings on bilharzia as well. I think what you say about getting more accurate research is absolutely fundamental, and hopefully it will form part of what we're trying to do to improve the knowledge and also the practice of healthcare solutions in the Waterberg. You were at that meeting, so you know what we're thinking about, and we look forward to working with you on that.
Thank you very much. And just on the topic of the birding, I should do 100%. Birders are a big market to the Waterberg, and they're also a group of tourists who are not scared to travel. That is for sure. So we have also started initiatives to start a birding club in the area to link up with various other birding clubs at, I think, Nels Vlei, if I'm correct, Ken, and to bring in the reserves like Marikele and Valgaponden and Lapalala as and to then drive birding tourism as well. So you're going to see in our marketing going forward, there are going to be very specific thrusts into this segment. So your comments are incredibly encouraging and validating that we are heading into the right direction. Any other questions?
On that score, we're also extremely, sorry, Judy, we're extremely lucky to have Warwick Tarberton in our area. And BirdLife South Africa has recently appointed a new gentleman who will head up ecotourism or what do they call it, avian tourism, or BirdLife South Africa. We've already been in discussion with him. We're looking for birding guides. We're looking for, to the establishment, as Judy said, of a bird club. Anyone who wants to put their hands up is welcome. We already have a number of people who have expressed interest, so we're looking for someone to lead that. Thank you.
Good. Any other questions? I'm looking for little hands. Yes, Marilda.
Hello.
Good morning, everyone. Let me just start by taking a moment and appreciating the incredible amount of work that you guys have done, and also acknowledge the fact that you guys are a formidable team, clearly. I am so jealous of everybody here on the meeting and the fact that you guys are pushing the way that you are. Congratulations on that. That in itself is a gigantic leap in the right direction. I'm so proud of you guys. So I am from Phalaborwa, in fact, and I met Ken last year briefly at a provincial forum meeting. And so I would like to encourage you to definitely keep going with what you're doing. Everything I'm hearing makes so much sense. As I'm saying, I'm completely jealous of how you've structured everything and how you're pushing forward. My question that I posted in the chat was basically about what kind of support you're getting from the local municipalities and the district municipalities. And it kind of links into what you were talking about, stakeholder engagement earlier. We can take this offline and engage a little bit further, a little bit deeper so that I can understand. But as I mentioned, I'm from Phalaborwa Tourism Association, which is obviously completely on the other side. And yes, Mashudu, we definitely have malaria in Phalaborwa. There's no doubt about that. I'm not even going to argue that. But what is important is that even in the meetings that was being held by the MEC on Thursday, they were talking about linking things together. Earlier in the year, we started working on the Route 71, which is from Polokwane to Phalaborwa. And I think going forward, Judy, you've absolutely nailed it. We have to be innovative. We have to think about things slightly differently. And there's no two ways about it. We are going to have to work together. We've learned some very valuable lessons. I'm also part of the Limpopo Provincial Tourism Association. It's been a long and arduous journey to put things together, and interestingly enough, in the last couple of literally months, things that we've been trying to get done for 3.5 years have suddenly started happening. So, you know, the good and the bad of COVID. Probably we never would have had a chance to chat about this kind of thing together like we are now, because as I said, we're 6 hours apart from each other, but it is something that I'd like to just engage with. So firstly, congratulations on what you've done. Let's look at, you're talking about packages. That's something that I find really interesting. My question would also be, what kind of support are you getting from municipalities, but do you have the tour operators in place that can help you create those packages? And if so, what's the plan going forward? Because that's one of the problems we have in Phalaborwa. We don't have those tour operators. We might have the products, but we don't have the operators. So yeah, that's a whole mouthful, but all in all, congratulations and kudos for what you guys are doing.
Thank you so much, Marilda.
And Ken, hello?
Yeah, Andre?
Yes.
Hello.
Just to answer your question.
Andre?
Sorry.
Can you quickly answer Marilda's question, and then we'll come to you.
Fine, thanks.
Thank you, Andre.
Marilda, the way I would answer your question is we should speak about the cooperation with the national, with the provincial, district and municipal things offline, and we're happy to do that. In short order, my feeling has been that tourism in this country has been from the top down instead of from the bottom up. It is the people at the bottom who know their markets, who know their products, and they should be driving it under the guidance, probably, of someone higher up, and with the support of the higher people. Regrettably, there is very little of that, and this is why we have formed Waterberg Tourism NPC. It is a non-profit corporation. We will work with the authorities, but we will not work for them. It's per offline.
Right. Excellent. Thank you so much, Ken. Andre?
Now, I just want to quickly come in here. Two aspects. The one has to do with trees, dendrological. I'm from the Dendrological Society involved there, and I think together with birding, it is something that can, you know, those two things can go well together. And then I just want to mention, I don't know whether Ken, I only came in a bit late on the meeting, on the first meeting, but in any case, I'm also represent the Grey Power, which we had a session in March at in Modimolle to see how we as the senior citizens can possibly help, especially with skills, you know, where specialized skills are involved. There are lots of these retirement villages where we've got good brains going to waste. And if we can get involved, and that is why I met up with Ken and attended 1 or 2 meetings already. But those are the two things that I just want to mention.
Excellent. Yeah. Thank you so much, Andre. We're very excited about the dendrological aspect of going forward with various different products and niche tourism. So I'm going to answer 2 questions in one go. Marilda, you were talking about tour operators. We've been linking with various different tour operators. I actually have a very interesting meeting tomorrow morning. And these are things that we'll be expanding about, on in the marketing meeting as well. But the important thing is that the operators are looking for specific products. And because we're looking at a post-COVID environment that's going to be a lot different than what it was before, you find the rise and growth of niche tourism, like birding tourism and dendrological tourism, definitely increasing. And it's not just from a research perspective. You're having guests going or visitors going, you know, I have an interest in this. Where can I indulge in it? And as Marlies, I'm sure will support me 100%, the Waterberg has got such an absolute diversity of natural products, cultural products, and activities that going forward and marketing niche tourism is an obvious. It's like a no-brainer for us. So yes, we are looking at the development of specifically niche tours, niche products, and what would be great is further on doing that linkages and that routes. Let's say a birding tour or a dendrological tour in the Waterberg, and then stretching out into the rest of Limpopo. I think that is where we're heading to, and I'm very excited about that. And Andre, once again, thank you so much for the support that we're getting from Grey Power, from Gryskrag, because that is an untapped resource. We've got people sitting with years of experience, with an in-depth knowledge and wisdom of application that we definitely want to tap into. So thank you for that offer, and I hope that you won't regret it going forward. Okay. Any other questions, Marilda? I see your hand is still up. Do you have something else? It's just okay. Anything else? Okay. So for today's meeting, that's basically it in a nutshell. I'm trying to keep an eye on the chat this time as well. What we will be doing is I've recorded both sessions. We will make these recordings available if you want to review it. If you did not get the PowerPoint presentation, please let me know and I will forward that to you as well. What we are planning then going forward is next Thursday, we will have a specific marketing meeting. And I'm going to do it exactly the same way. I'm going to book 2 sessions back to back. So if we do run out of time, we just click in the following session again. And then that'll be dealing specifically with what we are looking at marketing-wise. And please, guys, as Ken has stressed, this is a community organization. It was started by the community. It's driven by the community. Rita?
No, sorry, you can finish first, then I'll just got a comment.
Okay. And that's why we are dependent to a large extent on feedback from the community, not just our members, but feedback from the community as well. as to matters that they think are important, and input and wisdom and knowledge and skills that they have as well. Rita.
Thanks, Judy. I think maybe we must take this offline at a later stage. I used to run the Modimolle Tourism office many years ago. For about 8 years, we were totally independent, privately run. So there's a lot of experiences. You know, we worked out so many things and routes and things running all the way to Falwater joined us at that stage. So I think at some stage you and I must sit. I think I still got a whole lot of files here somewhere in a cupboard that I think we must pass on and just have a chat. But I think that's a whole day's chat with you and me maybe at some stage. Maybe lessons we've learned, things that work, things that didn't work. You know, after 8 years, I think we kind of knew exactly what worked and what didn't work. So yeah, we'll maybe just have a session and I'll pass on whatever I can to you guys and whatever you can use.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Rita. That's super exciting. You're right. That is going to be a full day. Rita, I wonder if you could just drop me your email address, maybe somewhere in the comment box quickly. And then I've got it directly and I can email you and we can set up a meeting like that. Sid, you need to unmute. Sid, stop. Sid, you need to unmute. There we go.
Okay. I had the privilege of working with Rita on the Environmental Protection Agency, and we accomplished huge, big things there. And I have a great respect for Rita and her background. Rita, if you're in Modimolle at all, I'm 10 minutes from Modimolle. Judy's in Pretoria at the moment, so it's a long trip for her. But for me, it's 10 minutes. And we want we can't reinvent wheels. We want to basically short circuit and get all the collective wisdom and knowledge of the Grijskragmense and the people like you, Rita, who've been in it. You've done it, you know, so we don't want to waste that learning. So please, if you're in Modimolle, give me a likey. I can give you her email address and phone number and all that, Judy, no problem. All right?
Great. Great. Thank you so much. Excellent. Thank you so much, Sid. Anything else?
Mm-hmm.
Great. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for joining us this morning. I appreciate your time. I know that the signal wasn't always great and the communication and the thingies. But Sid, would you like to say a couple of closing words for us, Ken? Which one is up first?
Sid is, I just wanted to remind you he was going to close.
Okay. Am I on mute? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
You can hear me. Okay,
yeah.
Fantastic. Thanks very much, Judy, and congratulations for managing this meeting so very successfully. I'm very proud of you for doing so. Well done. All right. What we need to get together through everyone is that unity is strength. I had the privilege of attending the Premier's Waterberg District Development Model meeting at Zabula. And Ken and I went to Lephalale when Cyril Ramaphosa was there, and they went through it as a presidential presentation last November. And one of the big things that he turned around and said, we've got to work together. You can't have projects and budgets and things like that allocated just simply by national and then provincial and district and municipal. You've got to put them all in the same pie, and you've got to work and cooperate with the business community, the private sector community, and labor, all right? And that message maybe is having some influence in how the authorities are now looking at things, instead of, as Ken says, talking down to us, saying, hey, how can we achieve these goals? Yeah. Ken and I strongly objected to the model that Cyril came up with. The first one was in the east, Port Elizabeth, Eastern Cape area, which he jokingly said their model was to promote Dagga because that's a good thing to do. In Durban, I don't know, there was some other thing, but here he came up with mining because the big guys were there. Zorro promised 23 billion and Anglo up the stakes and said, we'll offer 30 billion. Yes, they do account for more than 50% of the GDP, but they don't create the employment. All they do is all they do is mess up the environment. But I won't get onto that point, so I'll leave that one alone. What we have tried to do is to say, okay, fine, we acknowledge that. But mining, to invest 20 billion, whatever the case, it takes 10 years. With tourism, you pump money in now, it's going to happen overnight. The bottom line is, have a look at what's happening. We in Waterberg alone are an 8 billion rand industry, 8 billion rand, all right? And the ministers in their wisdom and this collective, whatever the Indaba is that's controlling all this sort of stuff, is offering 200 million rand. That's a joke. We're 8 billion. So the bottom line is we have to listen to each other and work with each other and say, if we're going to wait for government to bail us out, hell's going to freeze before it happens. All right. It's not going to happen. So therefore, we've got to work together to say, how can we collect it? Yes, we do compete. That's the private sector. But if we all promote together through an umbrella, and Waterberg Tourism is a good umbrella, which is there and readily available for us, that mechanism is how we can get ourselves up and running. We've had the privilege of meeting as a result of Andre de Villiers. Rolf Meyer has set up the AGDA, the Agricultural Development Agency. They've raised, Andre, correct me, I'm very bad with noughts, but is it 25 billion or 125 billion? But it's a murder of a lot of money, hell of a lot of money. And that's going to go into farming, training farmers, farming education, and all the rest of it, which is great. But we can do better than that, all right? One of the facts of life, Cyril stood up and promoted, wow, we're so happy. We've got all these promises from the investment conferences from 2 years ago, 300 billion. Last year, another 300 billion. This year, another 300. Well, what are they putting it into? Nothing. What are they going to put the money into? Eskom? South African Airways? There is nothing government can come up with investment. We, the private sector, must take that initiative, which is why Ken is forming the Waterberg Development Initiative. So we can talk big money and get real project. Because if you talk internationally, if you go and ask for 10 million rand, it's pocket money, man. I mean, in dollars and euros, it's a waste of their time. If you talk 1 billion, 2 billion, 10 billion, now you're talking Turkey. And that's how we must raise the stakes. And using people like Grijskrach, Andre de Villiers, the local Sakekamer, we can embrace a lot of them. It's us, the private sector, that has to make it happen. Because if we wait for government, it isn't going to happen. They don't know what they're doing. They've been appointed at top positions without the knowledge and experience that they need to do the job. And I can be categorical here because that's a fact of life. We do know what to do. Thank you. Okay, zip it up. We got to work together. Get on with it. All right.
Sid, as you can gather there, is extremely emotional about these things and very committed. And we're so proud to have him on board. But some of these discussions are left for offline. Thank you very, very much, Sid. I want to just mention as well the biosphere. This is often neglected, and I think wrongly so. We are very proud members of the Waterberg Biosphere, and it has a huge role to play in what we are wanting to achieve for the Waterberg. So I just want to acknowledge Letitia, Lesiba, and Mashudu, who was on the discussion. Mashudu wears two hats. He wears the hat of the Lapalala Wilderness School, which has an unblemished record of training more than 100,000 kids on environmental awareness. And so thank you very much for joining us. Thank you all for your support. Judy, I'm signing off. Thank you.
All right, guys, thank you so much for your passionate support and for your dedication. And we look forward to seeing you at our next meeting. Have a super day further, everybody. Bye.
Bye. Bye.